this.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Not Tracking a Flight to Toronto, episode 43. And today we're going to talk about the New York Rangers, unfortunately, not Shohei Ohtani. So I have bad news for you if you were expecting Shohei Ohtani talk. But yeah, the Rangers, they have been winning a good amount of games, but they've not looked pretty in these wins lately. They're not playing great defense. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to do power rankings as well at some point in this, and probably shoot the shit and talk about Winnipeg as we normally do. And I wanted to do a prospect segment, which we're going to attempt to do, but Steven's not here, so it's not going to be anywhere close to the prospect update that you guys would have wanted. Although I'm trying to get him on for next week. So next week, you guys will get the better prospect update. We'll still attempt to give you one, though. But before we jump into everything, leave a like on the stream. Subscribe if you're new. On the road to 2K subs right now. We're at what are we at right now? I don't have it up. That's great. 1.87K. 1.87K. Let's see if we can get to 2K. Probably won't happen before the end of the year, but before the end of the season, it's possible. It's definitely possible then. Hopefully by the trade deadline, which is coming actually very quick. This season has felt like one of the quicker seasons. Like the fact that we're seeing trades too already, not that it's really anything serious with Robert Bortuzzo.
Don't shit on Bortuzzo like that, bro. I did not just hear that.
Let Luke cook.
This guy's hyping up Bortuzzo. But and yeah, we're gonna talk about this, about Steve Valiquette's concerns with the Rangers defense, which I'm just as concerned too, because there was something that came out the other day. There was a ranking that the Rangers are 27th in rush defense, right? Something like that.
Mm-hmm. They were near the bottom.
Yeah, I wish we had these stats just always on the ready in public. I don't know why we can't just get these stats ever, but yeah, Rangers 3-2 in their last 5. All their wins, though, being at 1-goal games against Detroit, Nashville, and San Jose. Not the best opponents outside of maybe Detroit, and then losing to Buffalo and Ottawa. I'll start by asking everyone this. On a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you with the defensive play as of lately? Who wants to start?
Not me.
For me, I'll go. I got to go 7, 8, so probably go in the middle, 7.5. No, look, I mean, they're 6-3 in their last 9, but ever since that Dallas game, the defense is just, the whole defensive structure is just falling apart. And the one thing that scared me, especially in the Ottawa and the Sharks game, was just how much the stretch pass was killing the Rangers. How many times did we get cut open in the middle just with that long stretch pass? And listen, I know the D hasn't been great overall, but the forwards especially have not done their job covering guys. I mean, you look on D, like Fox, yes, since he's come back from the injury, he's not been great, but Fox is the last guy I'm worried about. Trouba, while he had a terrible game, he's been a rock on defense this year. And Gustafsson, same thing. He's been solid this year, so one bad game I'm not going to get too concerned about. But then you got guys like Braden Schneider, who I'm just going to be honest, I'm going to put this as nice as I can. He's a steaming pile of shit. He is just not good, and I don't see a future with him on this team. Keandre Miller, well, listen, I think he's had an okay season. If you want to be considered a top defenseman in this league, your inconsistency problems have to stop. I mean, when he's on his game, we see like stepping up into the play. He's breaking up plays. He's getting physical. But when he's off his game, like, you know, this last stretch of games we've been seeing, you know, he's getting easily bodied off the puck. His defensive awareness is just not to be seen. And Kulak stays goal in the puck. And then with Ryan Lindgren, we have to have that discussion where Ryan Lindgren's just not a top pairing defenseman on this team. If he was a third guy, if he was on the third pairing, I'd be okay, fine. But if the Rangers are seriously considering, you know, giving this guy a long-term extension, then they should seriously think twice about it.
Yeah, and this comment in the chat, man, I mean, you want to just cry looking at that 30-second in defending off the rush since November 12th. I don't understand what happened, because it lasted an entire month, them playing quality defense, and lately we have just not seen it. And people come in my chat saying they're annoyed hearing about it. I get it, because they're winning games. You want me to be acting like it's all sunshine and rainbows. It's really not. The defense has been a concern, and we're finally starting to see it spiral out of control. And 3-2 in your last 5 1-goal games in all your wins, especially against like the Sharks, that can't happen. And yeah, Vegas last year won the Stanley Cup, ranked 4th off the rush. Year prior, they were 20th. When Colorado won the Cup, they were 2nd. Year prior, they finished 12th. Jesus. Steve Valiquette mentioned it. Teams that tend to finish top 5 in defending rush chances go on to win the Stanley Cup usually. So if the Rangers don't get it together, there's definitely a concern. And I saw someone argue with me on Twitter about how, well, there's not really that big of a difference from 27 to even the top 5 or middle of the pack. That's not the point. You still want to be somewhere in that, and that doesn't give them a pass for allowing like 4 odd man rushes, 5 odd man rushes a game. It really doesn't. So I guess I'll just answer the question quickly for that. My concern, I'm at probably an 8 right now, because with the injuries too right now, and the fact that Fox is back and you still have guys being inconsistent, a concern. Braden Schneider, he shouldn't be here by the deadline if he's going to keep playing like this, or if not, he should be sitting his ass in the press box, because he doesn't deserve the play with the way that he's been. Miller, like you mentioned, is inconsistent. Ryan Lindgren, don't understand the obsession in this fan base with the inconsistency from him. He's not a top pair guy. And the fact that people actually tried to argue that he is on the same pedestal as Devon Toews and that they didn't want Devon Toews over him is laughable. So yeah, that you could most definitely do the thumb point to, because it's ridiculous. But yeah, I'm sitting at an 8 right now because things could get ugly if they keep playing defense like this. The only reason it's not any higher is because of the 3 days off, and maybe they'll fix the play from these 3 off days. But I'll have to see it, especially because Sunday is a big test for them. You're playing the best team in hockey right now. So who wants to go next, though, with this?
Sean Ott.
This guy always has to go last.
Always.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, too. I'm at a 7 or 8. I'll say what Matt did, go in the middle at a 7.5. It's just been really bad. Like the first 10 games of the season, I mean, we just looked fantastic defensively. It's something we never saw from the Rangers in a long time. It looked like Peter Laviolette was really cutting down on this, playing good defensive hockey. But as of lately, the team has just lost that. And as we've been saying, there's really no consistent defenseman on this team other than Adam Fox and Eric Gustafsson for the most part, even though lately he's been even starting to lose his game, which is not good to see. There's just too many defensive lapses. The odd man rushes are abysmal, bad turnovers. So I'm starting to really get concerned right now, and Valiquette getting concerned should really tell you something as well. But hopefully we can improve here. I mean, we got back-to-back games this weekend. It better look better. You had, 4 days of rest from the last game? So
just a bit.
Yeah,
4 or 3. Yeah.
Yeah, so we better see that change tomorrow against a pretty poor Washington team. Actually, no, they've been playing pretty good, actually. It's not poor.
They've been okay.
Yeah.
I think they're
They're
overperforming.
overperforming.
Yeah, I think they're a fake good team. But
until he drops a 3-piece on us.
That's
he's struggling, so yeah, he's gonna.
The second I saw someone tweet today that he had 2 goals in his past X amount games, I was like, "Fuck, thanks a lot for that, Jay."
It's Jover, yeah.
Yeah, it's Jover. We're not coming back.
Wow, not good to Gustafsson's play at all there. It's really not good at all. He has hit, like, I was complimenting him in the Ottawa game, and then all of a sudden he just starts puck watching the rest of the game. And yeah, seconds later, I felt like Sam Rosen, who was gassing up Miller, only for him to get just absolutely danced on by Brady Tkachuk. And then there was another moment too. Oh yeah, before the first goal, Sam and Joe are like, yeah, they're playing real strong defensively. It looks so great right now. And then all of a sudden they allow a goal, of course, in the next minute. So yeah, they've been bad. And this is another thing that's pretty alarming. When Tampa won their first cup in 2020, they finished 4th off the rush. The year prior, won the President's Trophy with 62 wins, by the way. In 2019, they were 27th, which is where the Rangers rank right now. So for all the people saying
Woofa.
18-5-1, Tampa Bay won 62 games that year, and they still were 27th and got pantsed by Columbus, completely outmatched because John Tortorella is a pretty solid coach. Decent coach.
Decent.
Larry Brooks might tell you otherwise, but
Definitely.
Nick, what would you say is your concern level right now?
You guys are going to disagree. I'm going to give it like a 5-er and allow me to justify. Typically, when problems are brought to light, they're solved. And I am a strong believer in Peter Laviolette. And I think Peter Laviolette is going to be like, wow, the off-the-rush defense blows cock, and we're going to fix this. And I think it's going to get solved. I think it's going to be resolved. As of today, right meow, I'm at like a 9. But I think in the next like week or so, it's going to get solved. I'm not. If it was Gerard Gallant, I would say the ass opposite, and that it's just probably going to get worse. But I feel like with Peter Laviolette, he's a smart enough coach and has addressed many issues that we already saw coming into the season. That this will be an issue that we will not have to be talking about in the near future. He's gonna get it sorted. I'm not overly concerned.
Just though to back up just how bad like we've been defensively these last 9 games. I posted this on Twitter, but I took it off Money Puck. And the last 9 games dating back to the Dallas game, that's the first game I went with, their average expected goals against in those 9 games is a 4.02. Not good enough. And then I even
Not good at all.
And then I even did another sample size just to compare because people on Twitter saying we can't complain because this team's winning. So I took a 9-game sample size from the Kraken game to the Wild game, and again off of what's it called, Money
Puck.
Yeah, and the average expected goals against in those 9 games was 2.89. So that just shows just how bad the defense has been these last 9 games.
Teams are definitely learning. I mean, one of the downfalls of being the best team in the league early and coming off to such a hot start is everyone's watching you. So when they're coming up playing a game against you, they're circling you on the counter like, all right, we're playing them. This is what we have to look out for. They find little holes and they exploit them. And obviously the big hole for us was off the rush defense. So it's something that we need to address and be better at defending.
I think part of it goes in hand with the fact that they still can't find the balance between offense and defense. Like I feel like their defensemen sometimes jump too far into the play and get a little too excited jumping into the rush, and you lose the board battle there. All of a sudden that opens up an opportunity for a rush chance coming the other way. I think it goes hand in hand that they still can't find the balance between the two, and we're in December already, so this should be down pat by now. And if it's not going to be down pat by January, there's even more concerns. And then I have questions with the group itself, because how are we not figuring this out by January, February? So that's the other thing. Like you mentioned, that Laviolette at least and this coaching staff, you could trust them way more to get this thing back on track than you would have with previous coaching staffs. But there's definitely a concern. Yeah, but Ryan Lindgren is Iron Man. How could I forget that? How could I forget that Ryan Lindgren's Iron Man? Yeah, but I think that we're going to see them go out, and I think they're going to actually make a significant move this year at the deadline on both sides of the puck. I think they're going to get a big-time forward, and I think they're going to get a big-time defenseman. I really do, especially if this play continues. They don't have a choice. Who is that defenseman going to be? No idea, but it cannot be. They can't keep rolling out Ryan Lindgren on the top pair. Plus, this team already keeps getting banged up. So are you really going to trust Ryan Lindgren to stay healthy rolling into the postseason? I just can't do it. And Nick right now is looking like LeBron James all horny. So I'm very curious what he has to say about this with a defenseman. Clearly he has someone in mind, which I guess kind of leads to the next question I did have lined up. How early do the Rangers make a trade? When do we think they make a trade? Because I tweeted out earlier, there's no way they wait until the deadline. They can't do it. They have to make a trade by January, February. I know who you want, but like who for the defense are you thinking?
Who do I want? I want a lot of people, but the issue is money, honey. The issue is money. We don't have lots of it. Someone I've been putting my eyeballs on lately, just in reference to us not having any money. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on, so I'm struggling to see. Hold on. I'm going to pull them up on Cap Friendly so I can give you the proper breakdown. So I just need you to chill for a second. Thanks. Getting all excited over there, Matt. Where is he? There he is. Cut his salary in half. This motherfucker's making $2.25 million a year. He's available. People want him. All right. He's a righty, blocks a ton of shots. Great at defending off the rush. His name is Christopher Tanev. At $2.25 million a year, he is quite affordable for the New York Rangers. As of right now, I'm just going to try to pull up the Rangers on Cap Friendly, so give it like 30 minutes because the website's a little bit slow right now. A lot of traffic. As of right now, at the deadline, the Rangers are going to have $5.7 million in cap space. As of today, we have $112,000. Yikers. So we really can't do much. Once Riley Nash is sent down,
that number is skewed though because
that
number is skewed though because they have guys on LTIR, the deadline number, because Kakko and Hedl might be
so
back.
It gets a little confusing. It does. I'm not sure how that money situation works, and I don't know if we acquire someone, if we can fit them in because of LTIR. I really don't know how it works. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do. But Chris Tanev is someone who I have my eyes on, and a sleeper pick. Let me just adjust my eyes here. Sorry, I can't. I'm going to pull up this team real quick. No, not him. Where is it? Oh, well, that would make sense. I clicked on the wrong team. Sorry. Just give me a moment. There he is. His team is blue, as in the Blues. And no, it's not Robert Bortuzzo, so chill. This defenseman, been around a while, Turdy Tree, left-handed defenseman on an expiring deal. How about Marco Scandella, if you want a good defensive defenseman? Decent numbers, good defensively, not a terrible skater. And St. Louis, not really looking that great right now. And what does St. Louis also have that I want really badly? And you could probably package these two together in one big deal at the deadline. We need top six scoring help, or middle six, whatever you want to call it. They have this guy named Jacob Vrana. Pretty dope. We already went over his stats before. His goals per 60 and I believe points per 60 would both lead the Rangers, except actually points per 60 would be second behind Panarin. But goals per 60 and points per 60 would be 1 and 2 on the Rangers in the past 3 years. So you package Scandella and Vrana, and you address two needs at the deadline. That's just my opinion. But what do I know? I only do this for fun.
I hate to break the news to you, but Marco Scandella, just looking at the charts, has not been a positive in the positive range as a defenseman in his defensive category since 2019, 2020.
Coco, do you hear this shit?
So
make one suggestion, Coco. That's it.
So I don't think Marco Scandella's the option there to go with.
Doesn't have to be, but remember, it's the Rangers we're talking about, so you know.
I would be more intrigued for a package from Seattle.
Okay.
I have my eyes on Jordan Eberle potentially as a forward.
Okay.
And it might have been one of you that suggested it. I don't remember who did, but
was it Justin Schultz?
Justin Schultz, yes. Yeah. Potentially as
what's his numbers? Before I say no, what are his fancy stats?
The only issue with him is I don't believe he's that great on the defensive end.
I don't think he's very good.
He's having well, here's the thing. He's having a career year on the blue line in terms of his defensive metrics. His defensive metrics are very much in the purple. His offensive metrics are not so much. In previous years, the good news is they have not been that far down. The last time they were really far down in the gutters was 2020, 2021, his defensive metrics. So you're getting a guy that's okay on the blue line. Like, sure, you could do better. The problem is that if you're trying to do a forward defenseman package, I would be more intrigued by that versus going out and getting Vrana and Scandella. I think Schultz would be the better option. I think Eberle's a way better forward. And Matt, you've talked about this a lot. He's a guy that's familiar with playing under a neutral zone trap system. So you're getting a guy that at least would be able to fit in a little bit better.
I think there's someone else on Seattle that we should be pursuing.
Someone made a good point in chat too. Shea saying Vrana and Lavi don't get along. I feel like I do recall seeing something about
Never
that
mind.
in Washington. That
That would
Lavia
make
led to
sense.
Not really like Verona. I mean, yeah, that would make sense.
And this would be the dream target. I've been saying this, that if the
Yeah.
Wild have a fire sale, like a true
Brodin.
fire sale, I'm driving Ryan Lindgren to the airport to make sure Jonas Brodin comes here. He would be the perfect top pair guy with Adam Fox.
What do
From
you
Minnesota, Lindgren.
What do you guys think? I've liked his game the past 2 years. Last year in LA and this year in Philly. What about Sean Walker? What do you?
Not a bad get.
I mean, he's.
I'm
what,
not too familiar with
he's-
this game.
He's got 1 year. He's a free agent next year. He's got 2.650. So I mean, if you would cut that in half, that's 1.325. I mean, you look at his stats: 26 games, 3 goals, 8 assists. He's a +7. I mean, you go on Money Puck, you look at some of his stats.
Oh my fucking god! I'm looking at his evolving hockey chart right now. Holy
He's a
2
Good.
2.32 expected goals against per 60, and I think he's a 51 on Corsi.
Holy tits! I'm pulling this up.
Matt made
Let him
that
talk.
really
That's
good.
a sneaky
yeah.
find.
I found my
Wow.
diamond in the
Now the
rough.
question is, what is Philly going to upcharge the Rangers for him?
Well, yeah, that's
Uh-huh.
the problem. And is Philly
They're
going to
making
make
a
the
push right
playoffs?
now.
They
Yeah.
might make the playoffs.
He's probably not on the table, but if they do fall apart, yeah, it's.
I
could be a
kind of,
very
I
interesting
mean, I don't know if this is reliable, but I kind of did hear that they might be considering selling, but
And then,
but like-
I mean,
yeah, then we need that more than anything.
Yeah,
it's-
that's a good
that
What about and I know we're talking defenseman, but what about a defensive forward from Seattle that we should have gotten like 3 years ago?
hey,
one.
man,
Yanni?
Laurel Gord.
Yanni Gord.
That's what I said. Laurel.
I would be a huge fan of that.
I've wanted him for a long ass time, dude. I think that guy, dude. We talk about like Trocheck being a mother effer. Imagine Trocheck and Gord together.
yeah, if only they acquired the right guy from that Tampa Bay third line and not the worst of that group.
Isn't that fucking?
He
so
got to
annoying?
get moved by the deadline.
He's got
I
to
don't
go.
fucking understand anymore how people defend the guy.
It's impossible.
There are so many forwards hurt, and he still can't get on the second power play unit. He's never out there in the final minutes, even when the
Bobby.
team
Come
is trying to defend a lead.
Sit down.
He's never out there. He's not on the top penalty kill unit. I'm rarely seeing him out there on the penalty kill anymore. What is this? Like, why do people even argue that 3.6 is worth it for this guy? What does he? What intangibles am I missing here? Taking a penalty every game?
I'd still, if he was making
It's-
like 1.5 million, I'd be like,
It'd be
this
too
guy's
much.
overpaid.
Yeah,
Dude, he's
I
about
just-
as useful as Tyler, and this is not even a knock on Pitlick. He's about as useful as Pitlick. The difference is he's making
Pitlick's
$3 million
better.
more than Pitlick.
Mhm.
Can you
Pitlick
actually
is-
what's the
he's the
website
worst
where
forward.
you have player value by what their AAV should be? Like, remember the Gustafson one? He was worth like $9 million.
I
Can
don't
someone-
remember that website.
I would love to know what Goodrow's card states or has him valued at per year.
It's got to be like
It's
league
gonna be fucking terrible. There's no way he's worth over $1 million. I would guarantee you he's worth league minimum, maybe.
I could tell you right now, if he didn't win those 2 Stanley Cups, he would not be.
No.
There's an
Flipping
argument he wouldn't be an
burgers.
NHLer. Yeah,
You can
he
say the
would
same
be
about Blake
flipping
Coleman too,
burgers.
because Coleman has not been. He's been better than Barkley. Gaudreau,
I
but
think
has
Coleman
not
would
been-
still be an NHLer.
Yes, but not.
but-
He wouldn't be making fucking 4 and change a year.
Barkley Goudreau would not even be in the NHL right now if
No.
he didn't win those cups in Tampa. He wouldn't. There's
100. You're 100% right. You're
There's
100%
not a chance.
right.
I
Oh, sorry, you go.
no. What were you saying?
I was gonna say, hey, at least he's got some new teeth. That 3.6 million really covered his dental insurance.
Right. Which I'm sure the Rangers paid for anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I'm just trying to peek around a little bit and see like teams that suck. right now.
Adam
And the
Larson.
problem is too, like, dude, there's not enough guys on expiring contract. Here's the problem: we're now having to branch on the guys that have more than a year left, which means their value is just grossly inflated for no reason. So it's like, I don't know. Even if the Rangers do trade for somebody this year, they're going to be overpaying for whatever player it is because the market is so weak. Like this is gonna be one of those years. Remember when Antoine Vermette somehow got a first-round pick from Chicago, and Martin Hansel got like a first-round pick plus? Like this is gonna be one of those years because there's not a lot of players that are going to be available. Players' values are going to be severely and grossly inflated.
There is a new forward that's on my wish list, though, as of today. I'll let you try and guess him. He's been traded for a first-round pick in the past.
He's a forward?
He's a forward.
Can you give me the year he was traded?
I'll give you a range because I don't want to make it too obvious. But all I'll say
is
that
hold on. Do this like make this like make it like a dangle grid. So like Eastern Conference, Western Conference.
Like right now or when he was traded for that first round pick?
Right meow.
Right now he's in the West.
He's in the West. Okay. He's traded for a first round pick before he's out.
And when he was traded for a first between 2020 and now, I'll say that it was somewhere in that range. He's been traded 3 times in his career as well.
You talking Jason Zucker?
Nope.
David Perron's out east, so it can't be Perron anymore.
Shay, it is not Duclair. Although I would not be against Duclair.
Kasperi Kapanen?
Can we get the division?
No. For the division, the Central.
I'm gonna cheat. Look at the teams in the Central Division because I forgot.
Fair. I agree with what you're saying, Rob. While they're trying to guess, I'll answer some questions. But yeah, I agree. Let a guy develop chemistry. Like when they did with Tarasenko last year, I think that really helped him settle in more. I wish I could have done it with Kane as well to let both of them really, really settle in. I think that would have been the best route if that was possible. No, it is not Nick Paul. He plays in the East, but I would like Nick Paul. Not at that contract, though. I will say that. It's not Gord, but I would be fine with Gord. It's not Bukestad. I'd be fine with Bukestad.
Is this a player that would slot in the top 6 or bottom 6?
Bottom 6 for sure. More so the bottom 6. Zook though, I would be on board with as well. But
Nick Foligno?
I don't know. Yep, Nick Foligno. I would be all on board with Nick Foligno on this team.
We'll take a look at him.
Because if you want to talk about adding a defensive forward, that is
a gritty one too.
It's a pretty good defensive forward to add. The dude will kill penalties. The dude will fight if he has to as well. His defensive metrics are always in the positive. Like you can't even, it's hard to go back and find a year where it's in the negative. He is a proven guy. The last time his metrics were in the negative, and it was barely even so, was 2016, 2017. Damn. So that just shows you the longevity. He's putting up points too in Chicago. Granted, he's getting opportunities there because Chicago's not a good team, but 12 points in 25 games, 4 goals, 8 assists on the year right now was pretty good on Boston. I'm sure Boston would have liked to have kept him. It's just that the price range that he's at couldn't do it. If they could get him at 25% of his cap hit, I don't see a reason why you don't go out and do it. This is a guy that has been a captain as well. So if you want to talk about actual leadership, you're getting actual leadership from Nick Foligno, and he's been through it all. He was in Ohio for the longest time. He was stuck in Columbus for a while and was part of that team that we mentioned that ended up sweeping Tampa Bay. So
can I tell you what I like the most
about Foligno?
Yeah. His takeaways to giveaway ratio is a positive 1.5, 2.73 takeaways per 60, which, and I'm going to point this out just for shits and giggles. His net positive of 1.5 would be, and this is just his net positive. This is not his overall takeaways per 60. Just his net positive would put him 7th on the Rangers in takeaways per 60. His overall would lead with the second highest takeaways per 60 being Vincent Trocheck then at 1.97. So Foligno's almost got an entire takeaway more than the next closest Ranger. That's ridiculously high.
Yeah, I'd be
like
on
that
board.
a lot.
I think that it makes too much sense. And for this comment, that's exactly why they would let him go. He's scoring too much. They need to go out and get Celebrini.
Get a good asset for him. That was kind of the main reason of like the Taylor Hall and like Foligno. Let him develop with Bedard for like half the year, and then you flip him for an asset.
Yeah,
He
and if
draws
he
more
really
penalties
likes
than he
Chicago, and if Chicago really likes him, they could revisit in the offseason. They give him a chance to go out and win a cup, and then he could just come back in the offseason. Because I think Chicago does like Foligno, but they could just overpay for him in the offseason. I don't see why you would pull a Chuck Fletcher and just not even get anything for the guy when he might potentially walk regardless. So I would love it if they, like Nick Foligno, underratedly high on my list. Because when I saw that Ranger fan page that put out a trade target list, I was looking into Foligno, and I know a Blackhawks fan. He's actually subbed to the channel. Shout out to you, Nick. He was hyping up.
Thank you.
He was hyping up Nick Foligno, and I was like, and then I see him on the list, and I'm like, all right, I got to look into Foligno, and he would be such a good ad for this team, underratedly.
Positive net penalties per 60. You know I'm huge on that too.
Oh, you're into all the miscellaneous stats and the
Bro,
penalty stats.
fucking hold on.
You
I want to
live
see
for
what his,
miscellaneous stats.
I want to see what his net minors is per 60, and not the Jeffrey Epstein type minors.
I've taken inspiration from Nick. I start doing this now when I start looking at players.
Bro, isn't that like I'm
It's
telling you,
it's so much helpful.
I'm telling you, it is. Where is this? I think it's under scoring per 60, where you can see the net minors. Hold on, let me see. Because I realize now the net penalties per 60 factors in majors, which is or offsettings. So net minors, yeah, he's even. I love that. I fucking love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not the most best person on the market, but
That's a cheap and easy option. You might be able to get him for less than a third round pick. And considering he's making $4 million a year, which by the way, congrats on getting the bag, Jesus. You could probably get him for mad cheap. And they might throw in Bedard if you give them good draw. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They consider it. And who are we not throwing in?
Talon Boyko.
Thank you. Just making sure we're on the same page. Sometimes you just love just fucking throwing them in. So I just want to clear the air on that one. Oh God, we suck.
Yeah, not the most best trade, but I can't. But no, not the best trade. But I would be on board with Nick Foligno. The guy that I want the most though is easily Mangiapane, which
yes,
I'm letting you're driving the bus. I'm on the bus with you though.
Let me drive the bus. I'll pick up Mangiapane right now, and they get Foligno on the way back.
Plenty of room for him and I in the back seat. So,
bro,
while we're stopping in Alberta, can we stop in Edmonton and pick up Warren Fogle as well?
Chicka, yeah. I'm with Fogle. I'm with McLovin. So I'm here for that. Dude, let's just load up the depth. Let's fucking God. Grace.
Well, let's trade Panarin to get Hyman though, right? That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're not breaking the Hyman. He's too expensive. Way too expensive.
How about that other one we saw though on that slideshow? Guy over down in Tampa Bay might be available. Pretty good player.
Standard.
Oh yeah, in Tampa Bay.
Just a bit washed though, right? Like
just a bit. Washed player. We don't need it.
Yeah, no.
We don't
aging
like
star. We don't.
We already have a better guy with a one-timer anyway. So
yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't miss the net quite enough.
Like that's upside down Mbappe. We don't need that. I don't like Sean Monahan. I don't. I'm sorry. I really don't like Sean Monahan. I think adding him would just be I think Monahan gets traded early, and I think that's making a move just to make a move if you're the Rangers. If the season starts spiraling a bit, then fine, you add Sean Monahan because you got to make a move, and that's a guy that would be available early. But I would not I wouldn't be on board with Monahan. I really wouldn't.
Not over the moon.
No, like it would be a decent ad, but there's way better names out there. Like especially like I mentioned, Nick Foligno. You add him, and neither of these are the most best options, but you still go out and add some talent there. Nick Foligno wouldn't be the worst ad there. I understand that if we're talking about Foligno, I think that they have to keep him to be cap compliant. Isn't that why they got Anthony Beauvillier after letting Perry go? Correct, but that's why you end up either way. Chicago is going to sell at the deadline, so I'm sure that they'll be able to have cap in return. First of all, second, they're going to retain salary either way as well, so that will help keep them at the cap floor. And there's a Barkley Goodrow that they could take if they really want. Like if they really need to get to the cap floor, I'm sure that taking Barkley Goodrow,
don't forget it.
Can't forget that.
Cannot.
No, I think that would be. I think they can make that work. And I thought about Novak too, and then I went more in depth with Novak, and I wanted to vomit. Like he's really not. Novak's not anything special, unfortunately.
Plus, it's probably not a guaranteed Nashville sell, and they actually do have a decent little team they're building over there. And Trotz does not strike me as a seller.
It's fucking Andrew Brunette over there. Yeah,
they're
Novak's
8-2 in their
defensive
last
metrics very far down in the red.
Yeah. Well, it's the Rangers, so knowing the Rangers, they're probably just gonna get like fucking Henrique or something from Anaheim.
When Larry Brooks fucking mentioned his name, I wanted to throw my phone across the room. Are we fucking serious right now?
Dude, like, his metrics are not good.
No,
they're not.
That dude waffled so much out of his fucking ass. Stand up and turn around so I can understand you next time, Larry. Because you're waffling about how, Vladimir Tarasenko. I don't think he liked it here. Just shut your fucking dumb mouth. Like, oh my God, I don't understand. Then he goes on to mention, Adam Henrique would be a pretty good fit. Yeah, how's Josh Anderson doing over in Montreal, jerk off?
Yeah.
Like, I fucking can't.
Just gotta smile politely at Larry Brooks's articles.
I'm gonna try and find that thread right now. Is there any way we could find that? Because that was just
good luck.
Ridiculous. I want to know who told him that Tarasenko wasn't happy.
The same guy who told Morosi Ohtani's on a plane to Toronto.
Yeah, exactly. So fucking stupid.
God almighty. But if we're talking trade though, I think Calgary should be the team you're cherry picking from.
Oh, easily. That's the guy. Or you get Mangiapane, or you call like anyone and get someone from Calgary.
Yeah, I'd be all over Mangiapane. I would pay a king's ransom for Mangiapane. If for some reason Rasmus Anderson comes available, I would trade my left nut for Rasmus Anderson too. I don't think he ever becomes available though.
Mangiapane, he has a year left after this year, right?
Beautiful. Hells yeah, he does. So you could turn this into a Keith Yandel type deal or a Blake Coleman type deal, which I broke down and it kind of made sense. So I'm all over Mangiapane.
Yeah,
Mangiapane's.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I would trade the world for Mangiapane. I would overpay grossly for him. I think he'd fit in perfect.
And with Mika and Kreider, I would love. Beautiful fit.
Why can I not find this thread about Tarasenko?
Can someone pull up Rasmus Anderson's fancy stats for me?
Oh, here we go. I think I found it.
Really good.
Who do you want the stats for?
Rasmus Anderson.
I'm pretty sure that's a.
I think he's nasty as hell, but I just want to make sure before I go on a rant.
Yeah, let me see if I could find it. Here we go, Rasmus Anderson. Not great this year. Not great the year before. Okay the year before that. Terrible the year before that. Okay, maybe he's not as good as I thought.
Never mind. I take it back.
That was the guy who always breaks down and grabs quotes from podcasts. Okay. So here's the Tarasenko one. Let me get that up. I just had it. Where the fuck? Because for whatever reason, when I send links in group chats, it doesn't have the full thread. When was it? December 6th. Yeah, here it is. So here's what Larry Brooks says on a potential reunion for Tarasenko. He was a pretty good fit last year. As the team went down the stretch, Rangers were trying to figure out how to get the most out of Kane. So Kane started getting a lot more minutes, and Tarasenko's minutes dropped. I don't think it was a particularly happy end for Tarasenko. He loved the Rangers organization, and he would have re-upped if it was possible, but his ending wasn't any happier really than Kane's. So I'm not even going to read the rest of this because you just contradicted yourself within the same sentence. Basically, you say that it wasn't a happy ending, but he would have loved to have re-upped and he loved the organization. What are you even talking about? And Patrick Kane, yeah, the guy that was rumored pretty much the entire way to have wanted to come back to the Rangers. Yeah, no, he didn't have a happy ending here either. He didn't want to come back either. He totally didn't see quotes about him saying he wanted to prove that he still could play and stay here. Totally not. I don't understand. I really don't.
Yeah.
Insane
Don't even know what
waffling.
to say about it. Yeah.
And then he
That's
just goes on to
one
mention
right
Adam Henrique. You didn't have to read the rest of it. Like, are we serious about Adam Henrique? Would Vince Dunn fit under the cap if Seattle would part with him? Nope. And I would not even be in favor of Vince Dunn. I think he had a spoon sanity run last year, and I'm not on board with it.
I don't think they'd trade him either. I think they're kind of worshiping him out there right now. And the problem is too, like we're talking about adding a third pairing defenseman, so you got to realize whoever you get, their numbers are not going to be the same in a diminished role. So you kind of have to look for guys like a Sean Walker who's playing in diminished roles.
Yeah.
Could be too overzealous.
Hannafin and Mangiapane. I'm not a big Hannafin guy like most people are. I'd rather Tanev. That's just me though. Trade
I'm with that.
Jones, please. Yeah, I agree.
Problem is with Jones, dude, like you feel bad because I know he has his deficiencies, but he's an NHL defenseman. He's got to get minutes somewhere.
I unfortunately don't think that this is gonna come to reality here. The Raiders should attempt to get McDavid and Draisaitl. The problem is Edmonton's asking for Talon Boyko, so I don't think that.
So we'll just put the
I don't
kibosh
think-
there.
Yeah, we can't just throw him in. So I don't think that.
I do agree that if one or both of them quietly become available, that you should be throwing everything, including the kitchen sink at them.
I think it's impossible to make a
yeah.
McDavid trade. I just
In
don't
the middle of
think
the season, yeah, no.
No, I just think in
Oh.
general, I just don't think there's enough value for Edmonton to get back, and whatever you're giving up, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but would you rather get something instead of nothing? Like,
no,
And you got to realize too, dude, and we've I think we've been over this before too. It seems like whenever these teams trade their best player, what they get back makes them a better team. The Columbus Blue Jackets were an afterthought franchise until they traded Rick Nash, and then have been pretty much a playoff contender every year since, minus the past 2 years. When John Tavares left the New York Islanders, they made back-to-back conference finals runs. When the let's see what else. God damn it. When Toronto traded Phil Kessel, they pretty much they sucked for a minute, and then they got a lot better. It's like when teams trade their best players, they're usually better off for it. Like the Quebec Nordiques traded Eric Lindros and won more cups. How many cups did they win after the Lindros trade? 3, 4? Who knows?
They won 2.
They won. They won, period. When teams trade their best players and liquidate those assets, they get better. And that's just what happens. The Anaheim Ducks were better off when they traded Bobby Ryan and got Silverbrick and all those guys that had good runs with them. I think the Edmonton Oilers, if they continue to suck, why not liquidate McDavid and or Draisaitl?
I think
And
Draisaitl is the guy that
yeah.
they would move first.
And then go ahead and then fill out your roster and build from within. I think teams more often than not make the mistake of holding on to guys for too long, not liquidating them, and then they get stuck with building a mid roster around one superstar because cap space sucks. Without the cap, it doesn't make sense to do it. But because there's a cap in place and you could use $12.5 million to realistically bring in 6 or 7 players, who knows? You might be better off for it.
Hey, listen, July 1st, 2026, we will be there.
We will be there. Dude, how about this? Even the New York Rangers. The Rangers traded Marian Gaborik. And then a year later went to the Cup Finals and fucking lost to them, but fine. But we got there on the backs of specifically one player, Brassard, Dorsett, and John Moore because of it. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I agree. And on paper, regardless, Edmonton's never going to get back like what you would consider great value for McDavid because it's
But they might be
McDavid.
better
But
off for it.
No matter what,
Yeah.
if a McDavid trade goes down, you're gonna say the team that got McDavid won. Like nothing's realistically gonna add up, but I think they have to entertain it sooner rather than later. He's got 3 years right now, right?
Yeah,
He missed
After
the playoffs
after-
this year. Yeah.
after this year, he has 2 more.
Yeah, so I mean, if you miss the playoffs this year, I think it's silly not to start entertaining offers. Because even if he has 2 years instead of 1, you get more value, you know. So
I agree.
Right.
And I the obvious trade comparable is Wayne Gretzky for that too. So
And then what happened with the Edmonton Oilers after they traded Wayne Gretzky? What did they do?
They won another cup.
They won another cup.
yeah,
I'm just saying, like it's not, and this happens in more than just hockey. It typically happens when teams trade their best player and get a bunch of really good role players to fill in. They do better. It's bizarre, but it's the truth.
So you're saying the Padres are winning the World Series next year?
If it's popsicle, it's possible. Who knows?
don't even get me started on baseball right now.
Oh
Don't
no,
even-
we're doing a baseball. We're having at least a
no
15-minute baseball divulge into
No.
fucking chaos. Oh
no
yeah.
no
Oh
don't.
yeah.
No, please
Yeah.
don't. No.
Yeah.
My
Very
drywall is
Chase
shaking in
Claypool.
fear right now.
No, please, no. What about bringing back Kane? It's possible. I would be on board with it, obviously, but I don't know.
Tyler Mott first, then Kane. Well, Tyler Mott, then Gauthier, then Kane. So
I don't like Tyler Mott, man, anymore. That guy just did not want to be here, clearly.
no, but
That
you have
I
to
agree
trade for
with.
him every year. It's part of the rules.
Yeah, it is part of the rules, but I'll tell you, it's like the one time I tune into a Tampa Bay game randomly, I see that guy just take on 4 guys. I think it was against the Leafs.
Yep.
4 guys, 1-on-4 against them, draws a penalty. Tampa Bay scores on the power play, and it made the difference in the game.
Mhm.
It's like, but our $3.6 million forward brings so much more intangibles,
Right.
like unimaginable intangibles.
Yeah.
But
Actually, speaking of reacquiring players, the Mets are bringing back Kelly Johnson. I don't know if you heard.
oh, really?
Kelly
Is
Johnson.
Juan Uribe coming back there with him? Like that's
We're-
part of the rule, I think.
Yeah. Kelly Johnson is literally the baseball version of Tyler Mott. Just a fucking water bug. Just does a little bit of everything.
True. We'll move on though and go to our power rankings for this. So, did our top 5 teams, and we'll probably just. Do you want to do it that way? You each go one at a time, or do you want to go one
Yeah.
spot at a time for each other, and
I
we
say
go
we
around?
all say our 5s, then I'll say our 4, 3,
Okay,
2.
I'm with that.
Oh.
All right. Number 5 for me is the Colorado Avalanche.
Ooh.
Mm.
I have
for
2
me-
teams on here that people are going to be pissed that I don't have on here. So, but
Yeah, my 1 through 3, I had a pretty easy time doing it. The 4 to 5, there was like 4 teams I was like could like
Yeah.
easily interchange.
me too.
5, I'm gonna go Boston though.
Mm.
Okay.
Number 5, I have the Florida Panthers.
They almost snuck in for me. They
Ooh.
were close. They were
Good
close for
shout.
me.
Yeah.
I have the Bruins at 5.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Florida did not make my top 5, but they were very, very close to. The Bruins also are not in my top 5. That was one of the teams that I was referring to that people are not going to like. And I'll just say off the rip, Vegas too is another team that people might say is a top 5 team. I do not have in my top 5 right now. So, but they were very close. They were very close. But Colorado, they've been. What's a record in their last 10? I had it up before.
I have it. They're 5-3-2.
Yeah, like my
all
problem with
good.
Colorado is that they're in a lot of close games. I think they've lost like 3 in a row now as well. So that was the reason that they weren't really any higher. But it's still the Colorado Avalanche. They still play good hockey. It's just that they also lost to a team that is definitely above them right now, and 2 teams actually that are above them on my power ranking. So that's also why they're at number 5 for me, but still playing very good right now.
Yeah, I went 5 for Boston. I mean, they're 5-4-1 the last 10. They're kind of having the same problem with the Rangers right now. Their defense, earlier on in
yeah.
the season has been great, but it's recently, taken a dip. They're still finding a way to win games though, but they definitely do have to make most notably a center addition
Yeah.
at the trade deadline. But yeah, I got them at 5 for me.
Nico, what was your reasoning for Florida at 5?
Florida, I mean, they start off the season not great, and then they've just really been coming on strong lately. I mean, I thought their run was kind of fugazi last year, but I mean, they're just proving it.
They're the
was
for
not.
realsies, yeah.
Yeah, and now they got their key pieces back, in Mansour, Ekblad. So I think, well, they got them back recently, so and they've just been playing really good on all facets of the game. Honestly, they've been good. So I think they're a top 3 team in the East and could really, make another run this year.
I agree. They are 11th in expected goals for per 60, and defensively they are 3rd, giving up the fewest in terms of fewest goals against per 60. So they've been underratedly good, and I probably should have had them in the power rankings, but as we move to number 4, I biasly put in the Rangers still, just because at the end of the day their record still is 18-5-1. I know that people might say, well, Boston and Vegas are still up there as well. The Rangers have games in hand on all of them, they have games in hand on all of them. So that's why they're there. They obviously dropped because of defensive issues. I had them number 1 or 2 when we did this last time 3 weeks ago. But yeah, unfortunately, their defense has dropped them, and they probably will not be here if they keep playing defense like this. So for right now, they're fine at number 4, but they definitely need to start getting it together a bit.
4 for me. I'm going to go Vegas. 4-2-4 in the last 10. Started the season well. Then they had kind of a rough patch. They're playing a bit better right now. I mean, right now they currently have, what is it? Shea Theodore went on LTIR, and Alec Martinez is out right now day to day. But I mean, listen, this team still has a lot of talent, and they're playing better right now. But they definitely could go up a couple ranks.
2 more levels to be unlocked with
2 more levels. Yeah.
Nico.
My 4 is the Boston Bruins. They've really faded recently, but yeah, as Matt said, the defense has kind of been their problem. They really need to get a center upgrade. I'm looking at them for Elias Lindholm at the deadline, because if they acquire him, that's going to be Ben Simmons right there.
Yeah, it's going to be scary. Yeah. Nick, who do you have at 4?
Dallas. I don't think
Fair.
I think they have the potential to be higher, but I think right now they're 4.
That's fair. They're definitely in my top 5 for sure. Number 3, I have our favorite, and this is another example of a team that traded away a player and got better, the Winnipeg Jets, who are underratedly having a very, very good season. By the way, still do not have. I don't think Velarde's playing for them yet. Still, isn't he?
Nope.
Still hurt?
I thought he came back last game.
Okay, then he just got healthy, and they still were winning a lot of games without the main piece they got in exchange for Dubois. They've fallen off a bit defensively. They're definitely running into that issue, but still 11th in expected goals against per 60 at 2.41. Not bad at all. Expected goals for per 60, they are also tweenering off a bit. They're actually very low in that. They're 29th, which is a little shocking, but the way that they've played defensively has just been so good this year. Once they get that offense going, and they're going to be a team that I think is going to be aggressive at the deadline, because they have to be. If they go out and add a big time forward, like if they would be a perfect fit for Lindholm as well, or just any other forward. Jordan Eberle would make sense there. I'm telling you, they add a forward, that team could be very, very legit. And Hellebuck has not even been playing his sharpest this year, and they're still playing that good defensively and having those good of metrics. I think Winnipeg's such a sneaky team, and I was saying it in the in our preseason predictions. I was saying it then that they were going to be a better team from that Pierre-Luc Dubois trade with all the depth they acquired. Sure enough, they look like a better team.
Plugging holes, dude. I'm telling you, you get better when you trade away good players. It's not a coincidence.
Number 3 for me, I'm going to go Colorado. 5-3-2 in the last 10. Same thing, kind of like Vegas. Had started the season very well. Had kind of hit a rough patch, but they're starting to pick up their game right now. And I mean, to be fair though, they are playing they're playing better, and especially right now they have Arturi Lehkonen out, Nichushkin's out as well, and I know Gerard went into the player assistance program, so I hope speedy recovery for him, whatever he's dealing with. But yeah, I mean, you can't. They're not the greatest right now, but for a team that has Nathan McKinnon, Kale McCarr, Mikko Rantanen, you can't count them out. And come playoff time, they're going to be one of the top teams in the West to deal with.
Yep, completely agree with that.
Yep. My 3 is the New York Rangers. As you said, this defense play keeps up. They're going to start free falling a bit down the ranks, but I mean, look, if they get these defense problems sorted out, they're playing good on offense for the most part. The power play is lethal. You have Igor Shesterkin, who's playing solid this season. You still want him to maybe reach a higher level, which we know he'll do probably come that playoff time, like he does. And Jonathan Quick has been unbelievable. So I mean, I think everything's there for this team. They just gotta really brush up on the defensive end now, which hopefully Peter Avila can get them out of that little stint.
Nick.
Vegas. I have Vegas at 3 right now. I think they have probably the best roster of any team in the top 5, and obviously coming off the Stanley Cup. I just don't think. I think the 2 teams I have in front of them right now, I think just are better, just for now. But things can change. But right now, I have Vegas at number 3. I think they're an absolute wagon though, and they're probably my favorites to come out of the West.
Really, they're your favorite right now? I have.
There's another team.
Yeah, there's a team right now.
I know exactly what team you guys are talking about, but I think in a 7-game series that Vegas comes out in front of them.
Interesting. I will say too, I think there is one more team that I would maybe give, who I have right now, that I would give a run for their money in terms of like just best roster on paper. I think Dallas, who I have at number 2, has one of the best rosters in hockey from top to bottom. They do have a little bit of question marks on the back end, though. I will say that Ryan Suter on their top pair with Miro Heiskanen, they could definitely do better there, and I'd imagine that's going to be one of their targets. But outside of that, the rest of their defense, sneaky good names, Lindell, Hakanpää, and then they have Harley and, of course, Niels Lundqvist. But their forward group from top to bottom, it's hard to find it's hard to find a flaw with this team. Robertson, Hintz, Pavelski is their top line. Ben, Johnson, Dadonov is their second line. Marchment, Duchesne, such a good ad for them. Sagan for their third line. Sam Steele, Foxa, and Smith as their fourth line. That is a very good fourth line right there. And even just watching them play the Rangers, I'm like, yeah, this team's very good. Their only issue might be is Peter DeBoer is behind the bench. And I think that guy's a fraud. So that might be their only issue. But outside of that, Ottinger could easily steal a series for them. He can steal games for them. But if you look at their analytics, they're not even depending on him that much. You look at their expected goals for, I lost them. They're middle of the pack right now at 13. Expected goals against, though, they're 7th. So they're playing good defense. They're good on both ends of the puck. And they're probably one of the favorites coming out of the West. That's a team that I had first in the Central in my predictions. And it could happen, but it's a tight race right now.
Yeah, my number 2 is gonna be the Rangers. Now, if we would have done this episode like 2 weeks ago, they would have been number 1. But like we've been saying all podcast long, the defense has dropped them to number 2 for me. Like I said, in our last 9, 4.02 expected goals against is not great. And like we said, they've done a good job limiting the injuries. But if the defensive play is going to keep playing like this, then they're going to keep dropping for me.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Number 2, I have Vegas still. I know I kind of regret like Dallas, Colorado. They definitely could have made this top 5 of the West. I mean, they look like really good this year, like compared to the East. They have a lot of contenders, but Vegas, I mean, as Nick said, they're coming off that Stanley Cup and they're still just playing at such a high level. And their goalies were still always the question me, but Aiden Hill's number 1 in goals saved above expected. Even Logan Thompson, who's played like also half the games, has been very good for them. And then you just have studs up front and Eichel, Stone, Marchessault. Then the back end, they're always solid with Bruce Cassidy behind that bench. I just trust them a lot to make probably another great run this year.
Yeah, Vegas will. They're always there. They don't
Yep.
go away.
Gotta love it.
And I'm pretty jealous about Bruce Cassidy being there still. But Nick, who do you have at number 2?
The New York Rangers.
I thought I was biased putting them on the list.
I mean, they're still the number 1 team in the NHL in point percentage, and just to, I mean, it's been gone over ad nauseum as Rangers fans, but they are number 1 in the NHL in point percentage, despite missing.
Yep.
Shesterkin for what, 6-7 games, despite missing Fox for 10 games, despite missing Hedel now for 14 games, despite, I know people have their own opinions on it, but despite missing Kakko 4 games, like what the Rangers have done with the injuries that they've battled is nothing short of impressive.
And now they're going to miss Barker Gujo for some time. That's a big loss right there. Riley Nash has some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, honestly, that I hate to say it. I don't even mean to be rude or sound like a dick, but that, I mean, sometimes when you lose guys, it's addition through subtraction. That very well could be addition through subtraction. But you're like Adam Fox, 16 points in 14 games. Panarin, 37 points in 24 games. Kreider, 14 goals. Like, the Rangers right now, and I know things look bleak after they get absolutely molested by the Senators, by one of the worst teams in the league. I think things are still looking on the up and up. Zibanejad's not even playing well, and he still has 20 points in 24 games, power play merchant or not. Trocheck 22 and 24. Gustafsson is playing lights out. Laffy's breaking out. Jim Lee Vesey's doing good. Like, and not to mention too, like the Rangers still are waiting to add players. They're waiting for money to add players. I think they're only going to get better. I have the Rangers ranked number 2 right now, and I think the gap between the Rangers and Dallas and Vegas might not be super far, but I think the Rangers are clearly ahead of them, just given the fact that when they are healthy, I think they're the number 1 team.
I see Nick has had a nice glass of Kool-Aid D before going live here, because he has been
giant glass of Kool-Aid D.
He's been the most positive out of anyone here.
I've been a positive Peter, some would say.
You have been. Usually,
I'm a believer.
Usually, right, you were the one that was the most pessimistic coming into the year. Like you were massively pessimistic. Yeah.
I'm riding the wave right now, dude. I believe in this team, and the more I stop and think about it, the more I believe in them. Just because they're doing all of this whilst missing guys, dude. That's telling you, I think they're going to be scary, especially if they add and get better.
Ben Simmons.
Like, bro, like, first of all, the fact that the Rangers are number 1 in the league and trotted out Blake Wheeler in the top 6 the entire season, they should be number 1 by fucking default, all right? Can we start and stop there? They have Blake Wheeler and Barclay Goodrow on the ice night after night, and they're number 1 in the league. God damn, dude. Like, you know how impressive that is?
If they even got, like, one more win out of these past 5 games, I would have probably had them higher, or if they at least won by more than 1 goal in a few of these games, I would have, but it's the fact that, like, games against bad teams are even close. That's why they drop that much for me. But you do make fair points. They're still a top team. Like, they're still top 5 in my power rankings. But it's just those things. But number 1,
I think this would be definitive. I think this would be definitive.
This isn't even a contest. It's the LA Kings who are about to display at MSG. They're going to undress them out of these new third jerseys. I can tell you that right now, because it's fucking unreal what they're doing. They're 11-0-0 on the road. They are, if you look at the analytics, if you want to talk about analytic gurus right now, the LA Kings number 1 in expected goals against per 60, and they're defensive merchants. Number 2 in expected goals for per 60. They are an absolute wagon right now, and it's not even close that they're the best team. Expected goals percentage, they are number 1 at 58.87%. Not that big of a difference between them and Edmonton, who are second at 57.21. But between those two teams, it's a pretty sizable gap. The Florida Panthers are third at 54.36. So pretty much a 4% difference there over that, actually. The LA Kings are a wagon. They are going to show the Rangers what they need to do to win. This game on Sunday could be what the Rangers need. This could be what the doctor ordered, a nice ass whooping by the Kings, because they're going to display how you run a 1-3-1 trap. Because the way that they do it, they broke it down on NHL Network like a week or two ago. It might have been longer at this point. They never break that 1-3-1 up. They're in the defensive zone. They stick with it. They're pushing into the offensive zone. They stick with it. They play the 1-3-1. Go watch just one LA Kings. Just watch a period of an LA Kings game, and you'll see why I'm hyping them up so much. They play perfect. Like, it's not a coincidence Cam Talbot's numbers are this good. Like, let's not be fooled. He's not this good. He's not this good at all.
He's 35 years old, and Phoenix Copley has an 87 save percentage. So I think,
it just tells you that they've been good. And imagine they had better goaltending right now. They'd easily be top of the league right now. Yeah, this isn't even a contest. This is worth, honestly, from when we did that show with Big Apple Hockey. I could put the layup gift for this one because this is a layup that they're the number one team in the NHL. It's not even close.
I agree.
Yeah, for me, again, everything like you said. Number one, the Kings. Like you said, second expected goals for, first in expected goals against. And I mean, the game that really impressed me was a couple nights ago when they played the Avs. The Avs, who are fourth right now in expected goals for, they held them to 21 shots and a 1.5 expected goals against. But yeah, like you said, the way they play the 1-3-1 trap is, the way we saw the Rangers played earlier on. I don't know what happened, but hopefully they get back, to that. But I mean, you look at this LA team. Just their depth. I mean, they arguably have the best center core in the NHL with Kopitar, Danault, Dubois, Lizotte.
And Dubois not even playing that good right now either. Like,
yeah, Quinn Byfield has taken a huge step this year. I mean, his playmaking ability, his ability to get on the forecheck. He's been meshing really well with Kopitar and Kempe. They're playing right now without Victor Arvidsson as well. So when he comes back, that's even more goals into his lineup. Defensively, like we said, great. Mikey Anderson, Doughty playing well, Gavrikov, Roy, Andres England, and a guy who I hyped up in last podcast, Jordan Spence. He's done an incredible job this year. And the one thing that really impressed me is just how much kind of roster turnover they had since in the offseason. I mean, you trade away Iafallo, Kapari, Velarde for Dubois, so you lose three decent offensive players there. And then you trade away Sean Durzi to Phoenix, and you trade away Sean Walker to Philly, and you have Andres England and Jordan Spence just step up and play well into their roles. And like you said before, I wasn't high on Cam Talbot and Copley coming into the season, but credit to Talbot, he's played well. And like you said, imagine if they had a goalie like Connor Hellebuyck in that.
It would be unfair.
Yeah, they're easy. I don't know if I said it before, but they're easily my team to come out of the West this year.
Yeah, to me, it's not even close. And I'm sorry, everyone, that we're glazing and shaking so much ass for the Kings, but it's hard not to with how good they've been. Like, holy, it's fucking unfair. And I'm telling you right now, if the Rangers do go on a run, which it could happen because the East is very wide open right now, which I do owe the West a massive apology. I shit on them all offseason. You guys could probably famously pull up that clip too, where I said that the West is full of fakes, including Dallas. So I owe you an apology too, Dallas. You're for real. The West, I'm coming here to give you an apology because there's more teams in the West that like I said, could have made this list, but 4 in the top 5 for me. Vegas could have made it. The only other team in the East really that was close was Boston. I definitely owe a massive apology to the Western Conference. And again, I'm sorry that I'm shaking ass for the Kings here, but a 2014 Cup rematch would not be fun for the Rangers. Nico, you go.
Not much more to say. I mean, the Kings are literally a wagon. Matt, I mean, the point you made, it's unreal how they lost probably a quarter to 30% of their starting players from last year, and they have these other players step in and be unreal for them. And then, as you said, Evan PLD, he's not even hitting his stride yet. And once he hits his stride, I mean, they don't have a single weakness at all. I mean, thank God they're in the West. So for the Rangers, if anything, you'll see them in the Cup final, and then you got 4 more wins to go. But man, as you said, that's not going to be fun with how the Kings are playing right now. They just play such structured hockey, and really don't make many mistakes at all. So, I mean, that game on Sunday is going to be huge, huge test for the Rangers.
Sorry, I just saw something. Nick, talk about the Kings before I lose my mind about baseball again.
Yeah, are you talking about the David Fletcher trade?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You know
didn't they get
the best
Max
part
Stassi
is?
too?
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
mean they're gonna
Yeah,
flip Max Stassi.
No, all
but
you need is a third fucking catcher, assholes.
not only that, but did you see what they traded to get him?
Yeah,
It's the fucking throw-ins from the Kelnick trade.
just throw them in.
Just throw them in.
Wow, gathering assets and flipping them to get better players. Imagine that.
No.
Sorry, continue.
refuse.
Before we rant about baseball, just talk about shake ass for the Kings more.
Oh, I refuse.
I can't believe I'd rather shake ass for the Kings than talk about baseball.
I refuse. You guys said everything already. I don't want to talk about the Kings. Fuck them.
Fair,
Fuck them and fuck the Braves.
fair.
Also,
I-
Ohtani signing with the Mets.
Mike Tomlin, AD.
God,
I
let
mean-
me just believe for a minute, dude. Can I just fool myself? I like it better when I'm fooled, bro. I like it better when I fool myself a little bit here. Allow me to dream a little bit, so that way when he signs with the fucking Yankees, I could just be like, oh. I just remember the good times. Like, God, like ignorance is bliss. I fucking I love not knowing. All right, I love being uninformed, like believing my team's actually gonna do something. But
Oh
no,
yeah,
well,
Steve Cohen. That plane was a decoy, and yeah, he leaked the Dodgers meeting all himself.
Can we
that
just
was
talk
all
about the
him.
Mets for like 10 minutes, please? Can we just give them like 10 minutes? Because now I'm fucking fired up.
Well, okay, we'll talk Mets, but we have to do.
Yes!
Wait, we have to do the last part that I promised at the start, because otherwise, if we do this after, they stop talking about baseball at this time. Go to this part of the stream. You want to hear them not talk about baseball. I'm warning everybody in the chat. We're going to talk about baseball after we talk about the Rangers prospect. Because we
Yes.
do have to have a conversation about prospects, because I promised people that we would have this conversation. So I was actually talking about Nico. Like, Nico's the expert of prospects out of anyone. That's our guy. We don't have Steven, but Nico's the prospect guy.
Oh yeah, I got the juice.
Well, no, we talked about something in our group chat. It might be time for a conversation.
No.
The New York Rangers need to draft a defenseman this upcoming draft.
Maybe.
Mhm.
Because what did we list for their defenseman? It was like Drew Fortescue, Matthew Robertson.
It's so bad.
Who was
There
who were-
was one other name, and then it was like
It
God.
was, Hank Kemp, Brandon Scanlon, and Rasmus Larson.
Yikers.
That's
yeah, Rasmus
pretty much
Larson's the other one we mentioned, and then
that's the extent of their defensive
Oh,
prospects. I like Drew
Yeah.
Fortescue. I think he's having a great year actually too.
He is. He is.
But defensemen obviously take a bit to develop, and it is concerning that they do not have really anybody that's close to ready. Because I don't have faith. I'm off the Robertson train. I don't have any faith that he's going to be anything. He's a quadruple A player. Like, he's really not going to be anything. I don't think he's going to be anything special. He's 22. I guess there's time, but like, how many times are we going to have this conversation that it's like every year we just hear it's the same Matthew Robertson? There's really no progression with the guy.
Yeah. He's just he might have already peaked. Like he might be at the best we'll ever see him at.
Yeah, I don't really have faith in Robertson. The forward group, though, there's definitely a lot of good to talk about. Obviously led with Brennan Othman, who has been starting to heat up a lot. And I know everybody wants him up right now. To that, I say no. Let him over marinate. Let him develop for the full year in Hartford. I don't care if it burns a year of his ELC. Just leave him in Hartford. 18 points in 21 games. People are a little concerned that he's a bit of a power play merchant, since 5 of his goals are on the power play. But I'm fine with it because he's developing. He's developing at the end of the day. Let the guy develop. And I think that next year you give him the reins to play full time. And we have to talk about the arguably the best Rangers prospect right now, and I definitely owe him an apology, Gabe Perreault. I owe you an apology, man.
Three of us on this panel right now were ripping this pick.
Yeah, we really wanted Cristal and or Oliver Moore, and the two of them are actually disappointing right now. While Gabe Perreault in 16 games for Boston College has 4 goals, 19 assists for 23 points. He has been killing it. I know he still is playing with good line mates. Yeah, his skating looks a lot better. And I think that, you know what? I think part of my issue is that I've just become so used to the Rangers trying to develop these guys themselves. And I just didn't think about the fact that he's going to go off to college. He's far away from the Rangers right now. He's not learning how to skate from them. Otherwise, we'd probably be watching Blake Wheeler out there with Gabe Perreault, like a young Blake Wheeler. But he's far away from the Rangers. He's developing, and his line mates are doing very good too. So you could say maybe he's a product of that. But I mean, still 90 assists. And if you watch the way his playmaking is, it's unreal. It's unreal.
These aren't secondary assists. Like these are like he's setting up plays.
Yeah, go watch highlights and a Boston College game. He looks really good. I've been tuning into a few, and I'm on the Gabe Perreault train with everyone now. I owe him a massive apology. And I wasn't familiar with their game. I wasn't. I definitely owe him a huge one, but he's been the best prospect for the Rangers, and so much so that I've changed my opinion. I am team Perreault over Othmann now. I really am that impressed with Gabe Perreault. I really am. That's just me, though. I'm sure people are more on the Othmann train because he's doing well in Hartford and he's closer to being ready, but I'm still... I think I've switched sides, but...
Hey, let's just be happy that we actually have both.
Yeah.
And not just one of them.
Be happy that we just have prospects that are worth talking about because we haven't in a very long time. It was not that long ago where like the Rangers' peak prospects started and stopped at fucking Marek Hrivik. So let's just
Ryan Gropp.
Yeah. Let's be glad where we are.
Sean Day.
Like Sean, like there was a point in time when Adam Herman was still doing like the top prospect ratings where we'd be like, oh wow, Sean Day, number 4. So,
oh my God, Libor Hayek, he tricked my ass the first few games he was up with the Rangers. He tricked my ass good. But
Brett Howden.
We'll talk about more of the prospects though. My guy, underratedly, Bryce McConnell Barker, definitely deserves some sort of a shout out. In 28 OHL games, he has 11 goals, 15 assists for 26 points. Shout out to him. He's quietly been an underrated prospect for the Rangers. Do I expect him to be anything really special? Probably not, but you could expect him to be at least probably like a good NHLer at some point, like a decent guy. Brett Berard's a guy that everyone wants up to. To that, I say no, not yet. 13 points in 21 AHL games. He's been good, though. He's been good. And it's nice to see. Like, I think another thing that we talked about all offseason, it was so crucial that the Rangers finally added depth to Hartford and added some veteran presence where they're not just leaning on the young guys, and it's helping them out. Ryder Korzak, a guy that I'm intrigued by, 7 points in 19 AHL games. He's been okay. Adam Edstrom actually technically was up with the Rangers for a bit. Did a little, walk in and out of the door, but 9 points in 19 games. He was a guy that impressed me in the preseason a lot. I think next year this guy should be. He needs to get a good look as potentially the 13th forward, or potentially even in the bottom 6. Like I would be on board with Adam Edstrom being a 4th line center for this team because I think Nick Bonino's kind of like a one and done type thing, especially if Edstrom keeps this up in the AHL. I think he's
got some Brian Boyle to him.
He really does. That's a good comparison.
Yeah, he impressed me in the preseason, and him and Othmann pushed all the way to the end. So I really think next year with another year of seasoning in the AHL,
he wants a spot saved.
I think trade fucking Barkley Goodrow and give this man a spot.
Save him
Yeah.
a spot. Yeah, you have to.
J.R. Smith.
Edstrom and Rempe, like for two just like big God City motherfuckers, have both been playing super well.
Yeah, they've been. We'll get to Rempe too. Sakura is another one who has been pretty good. In 21 games, 11 points, 3 goals, 8 assists. Nothing
He's still
too.
a couple years away.
Yeah, he's still
I
a
don't
bit away.
Yeah.
I don't
I don't
know.
think we see him till like 25, maybe.
I'm not a plus minus guy for defense, but he's got to be doing something right to have 11 points and still be a +9 for that. So Adam Sakura, he's been impressive. And for all we know, he might be I get this vibe that he might be the guy that the prospect that the Rangers maybe trade away at the
I think
deadline
it'd be
if
a
they want a big
mistake.
asset. I agree, but it could be Rempe, another guy who had a pretty solid preseason. He's been okay. 21 games played, 5 points. You're not expecting him to put up points though, but he's been
No, with the minutes he's getting, no. But his play is his. I've been watching a ton of Wolfpack games thanks to the Fire Stick. Rempe's play, his numbers are not doing him justice. His play has been excellent.
Yeah, Rempe, he's been another underrated one. From the forward group, who was I? Barbashev. That was another guy that I wanted to talk about. In 22 games played in the queue, he has 6 goals, 10 assists for 16 points. I don't know
Point
how
of
I
game
feel.
since his trade.
What'd you say?
He's a point of game since his trade.
Yeah, so that's promising. With Rimouski actually too. So.
Mhm.
Definitely looking promising for Barbashev. Am I forgetting any other forward prospects that
2.
who am I forgetting?
Dylan Rubrick, 6'7", 204, 21 points in 25 games.
Not
30
bad.
pims too. So he's not afraid to chuck him and get a little bit nasty. But more importantly, and the guy that Jesus Christ, I just closed the fucking tab. That's annoying. The guy I was more excited about and more wanting to talk about is Noah Laba.
Ooh,
All right. So picking the 4th
Haven't heard
round in
his name in a while.
2022. 11 points in 13 games, 6 goals at Colorado College, second in scoring behind Gleb. Gleb last name.
All right.
So yeah, Noah Laba I think deserves a round of snaps because 6'2", $191, center, fast, good hands, good shot, good everything, motherfucker to play against. The Rangers have done a really good job of compiling. Obviously Othman and Perot maybe a little more on the skill side, but guys like Sakura, Rubrick, Rempe, Edstrom, Noah Laba, McConnell, Barker, Barbashev, guys that are just difficult to play against, and guys that are more safe bets to be bottom 6 NHLers than
Yes.
guys that have a ceiling of top 6 NHL with a floor of ECHL.
Yeah, and I think that it's so important because if you could save money in your bottom 6, because like we're seeing with Barkley fucking Goudreau, you
Mhm.
overpay for a guy in your
Yep.
bottom 6. If you could
Yep.
save money there, why not do it? Like you have so many guys that could be bottom 6. Like you're definitely Jack Harlow here with the
Yeah,
bottom
options,
6 options. And why not just add more? And because you're gonna hit on at least like 1 or 2 of these guys. You're going to. And I didn't even know Lori Pioneemi's still technically in the system for the Rangers. I thought that guy was.
Yeah, but he's playing.
He's in the
Where
SHL.
he went overseas. Yeah, and he's actually not doing bad. 16 points in 23 games. I think he's about done. He actually had a good year last year, but if we see him again, it won't be for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I'm definitely not on the Pioneemi train like I once was. Brody Lamb having a quiet good season too, and 16
Yeah, not bad.
games, 11 points. Who was that other guy?
A big issue, I think.
I'm
the
forgetting
Rangers
some
have
other
had,
prospect too.
Korzak, Lamb, Boyko.
I'm disappointed.
Yaroslav
Oh no,
Kemlar.
Boyko we'll get to. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Boyko.
Kemlar has 14 points in 15 games. He's already beat
That
his
too.
last season total and half the amount of games. Playing at Providence College. But the Rangers really haven't had a whole lot of great like depth picks. Like there was a minute there we were bragging. We had Carl Hagelin, Jesper Foss, and like a bunch of like late round picks. Buchnevich, Duclair, Graves. I'm just looking at guys that were picked 3rd round and later. Like, the Rangers really haven't had a lot of those lately. I mean, those late round picks that kind of pop up out of nowhere. Dale Weiss, just some random guys. Like, I don't know. I mean, it would be nice if we can get back to drafting low round players that have quality NHL careers. Like it's been a minute since we've been good at that. So it's kind of nice to see these young guys come up to look like they might not have the highest ceilings, but they have high floors.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like I said, you save money there. Also, another defensive prospect forgot to mention is not Trey Mancini's brother, but Victor Mancini, who has 5 points in 14 games in the NCAA. He's doing okay. And then, of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about goaltending. Dylan Garand kind of died down a bit in terms of how he's doing in Hartford, unfortunately. His save percentage dropped to a .904. Not ideal stuff there. 2.89 goals against average isn't bad. I don't know if that's the way Hartford's playing or not. I have not tuned into a Wolfpack game in a bit. So
they give up a lot of scoring chances. They're riverboat gamblers. They play a high octane offense and kind of just hope their defense figures it out.
Then it's probably more so that. And then when it comes to the other goaltending prospects, Olaf Lindbaum, everyone's favorite.
Fucking sucks.
Sucks still, yeah.
Terrible.
Hugo Olas.
He's been excellent.
He's actually having a very good year, yeah.
The only problem is he's splitting time. That's kind of what sucks.
Yeah, so he's not getting the full development, but could be something there. And then, of course, Talon Boyko. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about his
best player
in the ECHL, his 3.90 goals against and his .870 save percentage.
Sick.
We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about that. Edmonton, I'm sorry you can't have him. And yes, I know I was so more upset about Perreault getting drafted than he was when the Rangers shit their pants against the Devils. I don't think that's true. Because here's the thing with the Devils one. If you go back to the Game 7 recap, I'm not as aggressive and violent with that one because I kind of just had the vibe. Like, I had the vibe that it was over at that point. Even though they won Game 6 and it gave me a bit of hope, it kind of just numbed me. Game 5, though, pretty fucking livid.
Yeah.
Game 5, I was livid. That was the game probably that pissed me off the most. Because that's right after they blew officially the 2-0 series lead for the second consecutive year. And I'm going to shit my pants if they go up 2-0 this year yet again. So I was pissed off. But yeah, you're not wrong. I was very pissed off about the Perreault pick. I still was pissed off. But not as pissed off as I am with baseball, which for everyone that does not care about baseball, click off the stream.
Here's your warning.
This is your warning. Click off. We're done talking hockey. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe on your way out. We're going to talk baseball for the end of the stream. Even though we have a Mets channel and we could do a podcast there, why not shoot the shit here? Because
why not?
We can. And I don't think this even needs to be a long conversation regardless, because I've just had it with the Mets. Like we're not even gonna sugarcoat the shit. I've had it with this organization. So where do we start with the Mets? Where don't we start? Outside of the fact that it's just a bunch of lateral moves that they've made.
Less than lateral.
Yeah, probably less than that. Yeah. So you replace Carlos Carrasco with Luis Severino.
Carlos Carrasco light.
Carlos Carrasco with more velocity is what I would say.
And possibly a high ceiling.
Yeah, maybe, but can't pitch in first innings. Can't pitch in general. I mean, if you're even going to try to pencil in Luis Severino for 100 innings, don't do it. Don't do it. You're wasting your time. You can't pencil him in. At least use pencil if you're going to do it, though, because at least you could erase or get an erasable pen, because if you're putting that shit in Sharpie, good luck. Good luck with that. Joey Wendell, your Luis Guillorme replacement. Okay. Jorge Lopez. What'd you say?
I was fooled by Wendell at first. I thought he was actually pretty good, but
oh, me too. And then Nick just in the middle of you at the gym, just
he was going off, and I was just.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah. Yeah. Can I rant about that for a second? Just quick second, because I gotta leave here in like
first.
10 minutes.
Let me talk about the acquisitions just real quick.
Sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
For a quick recap of the acquisitions, Austin Adams for the bullpen, Jorge Lopez, the one-season wonder, And who was the last one? I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, Michael Tonkin. So yeah, Nick, go ahead. Talk about Joey Wendell.
So, let me ask you a question. You get out of a relationship with a girl.
Yep.
Is your immediate reaction, wow, that didn't work out. Let me find someone shittier for me? Is that what you say? It's not rhetorical. Is that what you say? Is that what you say? Oh, we broke up because we weren't a good match. You go like, you know what would be sick? Make it someone that's an even worse match.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Let me go ahead and get work, because hold on a damn minute, because what you're supposed to do is, because this is how sports works, you can't replace someone and get better. You're supposed to replace them and get worse, right? Because you want to be as bad next year as you were the year before. You're not allowed to get better. You're supposed to get someone. Everyone's like, oh, it's just like your replacement. Oh, you're right. That you're right. We're replacing someone shitty, so let's go ahead and still get someone that's fucking shitty. Because Guillorme was so good with the Mets last year. We made the playoffs. We won the division, and we weren't disappointed at all. That's how good Guillorme was. So let's be sure to get someone who's just as good as he is, and not get someone who's better. How dare you let that cross your mind, you dirty little bitch? How dare you even think about getting somebody better? No. You have a bad season, and then you get guys who are equally as bad as the ones that you finally fucking got rid of, because that's what you're supposed to do in professional sports.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you're watching the Yankees go out and get Juan Soto.
Yep.
You're watching the Braves actually, run like a normal baseball organization, going out and getting Kelenic, getting other guys too, and then flipping guys to make the roster better all over, and getting deeper in positions that they're already deep in as well. So where am I supposed to be excited? Because, I mean, if Ohtani goes to the Blue Jays, we're done here, right? Like, there's not a chicken shit's chance Yamamoto doesn't go to the Dodgers at that point. The Dodgers are just going to give him a blank check.
Yep.
So what? The Mets are going to overpay for Jordan Montgomery, and I'm supposed to do cartwheels and backflips as if he's going to be an ace for this staff? No,
they'll trade for Glass now, and he'll get hurt immediately.
They'll get Montgomery, try to trick our ass and be like, yep, this is the big free agent signing that we got. And then they'll get Jacoby Ells Bellinger and then just try and call it a day. That's what they'll do. They'll get Bellinger, who had a career fake good year. They'll go out and get Montgomery, try and say that's, they're great offseason acquisitions. And then that will be it. Juan Soto next year? Nope. We won't do that. Can't tarnish a friendship. No, can't do that. Steve Cohen, Hal Steinbrenner, too good of friends to interfere with that. Can't happen there. So I don't know. If they don't go out and even make an offer for Juan Soto next offseason, if they don't make an offer for Juan Soto,
we're out.
See you in my next chapter.
Or KD.
Somebody please just find a fucking way for me to have any sort of faith, because all I'm seeing right now is Steve Cohen brought in a guy that knows how to operate on a lower budget just so he could save some money. That's all I'm seeing. Because why not? Because you have such big issues with their pitching and you want to go out and win. Why not just go out and get Yamamoto and Montgomery? Why not go out and get Yamamoto and Eduardo Rodriguez? Oh, wait, he signed with the Diamondbacks? Oh, well, sorry. Too late for that one. I understand not giving guys money just to give guys money and to stay patient, but I just, why go over the luxury tax? So say they don't get Yamamoto. Why is this team going to overpay Jordan Montgomery and spend over the luxury tax as if he's worth spending over the luxury tax for? If you're going to spend over the luxury tax, just go get both. Tired of this shit. Tired of it.
It's fucking infuriating. I got to head out here, boys. It was a pleasure. I'm glad I got to scream a little bit before I go out to dinner. Makes me feel a little bit better. Till next time, guys. Always a blast.
See you, Nick.
Deuces.
Yeah.
He didn't let us know about lunch, though. But But yeah, I don't even know like where I could say anything positive about the Mets. Does anybody have anything?
Yeah, I'm
Anything?
waiting. I'm just if
can I at
they
least
don't get Yamamoto, go
Can I
ahead.
can I at least explain my point of view? Because I'm not as down as you guys are. I'm not happy, but I'm not down. So I'm not gonna try to convince you guys to be happy or not. Because if you feel like shit, then you feel like shit. That's I
That's an
respect that.
understatement.
But okay, it's like how I view the Soto trades, right? Like, and again, we don't know this for a fact, but do we don't know that if what's it called David Stearns called AJ Preller and asked to inquire about a Soto trade and said, listen, we're interested in acquiring Juan Soto. What do you guys really want? Now, if the Padres turned around and said, listen, we want to trade Soto, but we only want to acquire major league starting caliber pitchers, I just don't see where the Mets have that again. But that's just me. I mean, you have guys like Tidwell, Christian Scott, and guys like that. Okay, so you have 2 to 3 guys, but then again, the Yankees have 4, so they'll take the 4. I mean, they got
But-
Vasquez, Burrito, Michael King, and what was his name? Drew Thorpe.
Drew Thorpe, yeah.
So if they were open to getting other prospects like an Acuna, a Drew Gilbert, a Ryan Clifford, I would have done it, but I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt in saying that the Padres only wanted young, MLB ready starting pitchers, and for me, if they wanted it, I don't see where the Mets could have made a move like that. That's how I see it.
I just feel like why not? This is why. This is exactly why I screamed my head off. Not scream my head off, actually, because you know what? I actually, for once, was a positive Peter with this organization. I was at the deadline. I was actually sensing optimism in some regard because I'm like, you know what? Fine, you go out and get all these prospects. Fine, even though I wanted pitching prospects, I said it then that they needed pitching prospects, and they didn't get pitching prospects. But I tried to stay optimistic. I'm like, you know what? Fine. Why not go out and get like this is the main problem too. You're not talking with Pete Alonso an extension. Clearly not, because we see reports of it. And if you're not going to extend Alonso, go flip him for pitchers, flip pitchers for Juan Soto. So then you're basically replacing Pete Alonso's bat with Juan Soto's bat. Or it would just make more sense to have both on the same team. I still don't know. Like I'm somewhere in the middle with if they should extend or let Alonso go. I'm somewhere in the middle on that. But all I know is that you are wasting Lindor's time. What was the point of trading for Francisco Lindor? What was the point to get James McCann because you're too much of cowards to go out and trade for JT Realmuto? Like not getting Kyle Schwarber, passing up on multiple opportunities to get better players. JD Martinez is another name. I'm tired of trying to be like, oh, well, at least they got slightly better at this position. Or like, I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. And I'm tired of just trying to shake ass for mediocrity year after year, because there's not a single thing anymore that I could look at and think this organization's on the up. Like, sure, they got prospects, but okay, you have 5 shortstop prospects now, 5+ shortstop prospects. Use them and get talents potentially. No, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean this hinges on Yamamoto. If they don't get Yamamoto, I just have zero faith at all. If they get him, like I like even like, why are you not interested in Teoscar Hernandez? Why are you not interested in trading for Randy Arozarena?
No,
Like, why are you looking at guys like Michael A. Taylor?
no.
Who
We
are
need-
the other,
we need-
like,
we need
just
better
horrible
defense.
names? Yeah, it's infuriating. I just feel like we've been fooled, but it is.
My main
it is.
issue too is that if Stearns, like with the pitching side, fine. Like I'll let Stearns cook, I guess, because he proved it in Milwaukee that he can. My problem is that you're running on a higher budget, and Milwaukee has been mediocre at best with their lineups year after year. And what has it resulted in? Them never being good enough to get over the hump. You got embarrassed too. Like, that great pitching did so much wonders for you against the Washington Nationals in that 2019 wild card series, like, or I guess game at the time. But like, how do you not operate? You have a higher budget. Why can't you utilize it to go out and get better bats? I get it. You want to see what the young guys are about, but like, I just don't see what a world where it's justifiable that you don't flip guys to maybe get pitching prospects in some way, and then use those pitching prospects to get a 25-year-old superstar who's top 5 in this league and top 3 arguably at the fucking plate when your offense sucked and had 1 hit in game 3 against the Padres. 1 hit. And how many in game? Wasn't it like 4 in game 1?
Yeah.
4 or
I think
5.
I think the only run they had was the Escobar home run.
This fucking organization.
No, I mean, look, for me, for Yamamoto, the Yamamoto it's a must, obviously. And if it comes down to money, which like I think it will personally, then there is no excuse why Yamamoto's not a Met. And if we wake up one day and we find out that Yamamoto signed with the Yankees and the Mets weren't the highest bidder, then there's a serious problem. Because I don't care. Especially with the Yankees getting Soto, you have to you got to flex your muscle a little bit and say, no, I don't care how much it takes. You know, you only flew out to fucking Japan to take him out to dinner, so just give him a blank check. And listen, if Soto was a free agency, if Soto wasn't free agency this year, then I have no doubt they would have gave him the highest offer. And this is not me. Listen, if you want to call me delusional or anything, you fine, go ahead. But when he's a free agent next year, I fully expect them to put in the highest offer, and I think they get him personally. But that's just me.
Can't ruin friendships. No, can't. Not allowed. Oh. Aaron Judge, one of the best hitters, if not arguably the best hitter in baseball now. Don't even make an offer. And I had people argue with me on Twitter that, Judge was staying with the Yankees regardless. Okay, I agree. But you make a phone call at the very least. What are you fucking talking about friendship? I don't give a rat's ass. None of us do. And I wish the league punished them more for that shit, because I don't see an incentive for the Mets to not negotiate. Like, I don't see the incentive. They got a slap on the wrist punishment for it. I don't see why what would stop them from doing the same thing with Juan Soto and not ruining a friendships. So like, yeah, let's not get Soto because of a friendship. I don't see what's stopping them from doing the exact same thing. So I'm just annoyed. I don't even know. I don't know. And you're right. If they don't make the highest offer for Yamamoto, then what are we doing here? What do we care, richest owner, anymore? What do we care? What is it good for at that point if you're not making the highest offer? And I mean, quite frankly, what's the incentive for Yamamoto to come here? Like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out what the incentive is, because who's giving him run support? I just watched Kodai Senga pitch a gem every fucking 5th day last year for him to still rack up like 7-8 losses. I watched Jacob deGrom for nearly a decade play for this franchise and barely be above 500 year after year because this team could never provide run support. It's like the Rangers with Lundqvist. They just don't learn. Ever. They never learn. And it's the same shit year after year. And the Mets have sucked for years too, Joe. Like, I get your argument that, the Braves suck. Yankees, I mean, they haven't. They missed the playoffs one year and then last year. Is that really enough for them to build up a farm? The Mets, like, Steve Cohen really, he fucked this up, to be honest. Like, he did. Let's not sugarcoat it. When he walked through the door, never should have said anything about East Coast Dodgers, by the way, because you could just laugh at that shit. Never should have promised a World Series in the first 3 to 5 years of ownership. If you wanted to be the East Coast Dodgers, you build up there. I said it all of August, all of July before the deadline. You build up slowly, you get the prospect pool, and then once you have all these prospects, you're able to pour them in. That's the main thing too. If the Mets just saw that vision from when Steve Cohen stepped into when he got the keys to the Mets would have the pitchers to go out and get Juan Soto, because they would have developed the prospects by now, and they would have had the deep prospect pool now to go out and get guys, instead of now first building it while trying to contend. It just doesn't work that way. And that's the thing too. Where's the transparency from this organization? Because we hear Max Scherzer at the deadline last year say, oh, well, they're punting for the next year or two. You have Verlander. Oh, they're still trying to be competitive, but they might punt for 2024. You have the Mets front office. Oh, we're going to try to be competitive in 2024. There's no clear direction. Just give a direction and I'll get behind it. That's the issue. There's no clarity from this organization from top to bottom. There's never been transparency. Never. And I don't understand why we can't get that transparency, especially because of how much we put up with this crap and how long it's been since this team has been relevant in any sort of regard.
No, that I agree with you with the transparency. Like if you're gonna go through like a rebuilding phase, like at least tell us, like at least then like we will get behind it. Like especially like with Pete, if you want to trade Pete and if you get a solid prospect, you get a solid prospect package in return, then do it. If you feel comfortable with it, don't just like lock him up just because the fan base is like clawing at you to do it. You gotta make smart baseball moves. That's what Stearns did in Milwaukee. And look, they didn't win because they weren't on the higher budget, but they built a solid foundation. Now, if you do that here with the Mets, you build a nice solid foundation with your prospect pool. Now you have that extra power with all that money, so you could go, oh, top starting pitcher, boom. All-star outfielder, boom.
If they even use the money, or is this a scenario where Steve Cohen wants to cheap out and then he wants to just have a guy that could operate on a low budget? That's what I question right now, because like I just don't see why, like a rhyme or reason why the Mets aren't in on both Yamamoto and Montgomery, unless like the only justification I could think of is if I don't know what the upcoming markets look like for free agency. If there's like a great pitcher next year, then fine. Like you want to get Yamamoto and then get that top pitcher next year. Like Are we really acting like Garrett Cole has an opt-out next year? Like, say Garrett Cole opts out. Are the Mets going to even pursue Garrett Cole? If you do, then fine. But the guy's 34 years old. You're probably going to run into the same issue, Zach Wheeler. And then you go, so what? You're saving money for what? And then you go to 2026, the pitching market then. Justin Verlander, he's going to retire by then. No shot he's pitching. Chris Bassett, he's not coming back. Not a chance. He couldn't handle New York. Miles Michaelis, Nathan Eovaldi, Zach Eflin, Tyler Anderson. Do any of these names excite you? Why are you not going in? Now I just said even more. Now there's more of a reason to go out and get both. There's nobody coming up on the pitching market. Nobody. Go get both and just solidify your rotation for the next few years. Because then the next 3+ years, you have Senga, you have Yamamoto, you have Montgomery, you have Quintana, which he's not going to be here for a while, but fine. You could fill in a 4 and 5 starter way easier than getting a number 3 starter.
Man. If that happens, as you
unless
said,
they're really banking on prospects.
Yeah. I mean, if you tried out Yamamoto, Senga, Montgomery, Quintana, Severino next year, that's great. Go at it. Like, you get a solid bat with that too. Like, yeah, exactly.
Who's hitting? Sorry, Jorge Soler does not move me. Sorry, he doesn't.
Pete, I mean, they got to make the decision now. Are you going to trade him or are you going to extend him? I want that clarity done before the season starts. I don't want.
I wish I had a basketball near me for the decision.
Yeah. So I don't even know what the Mets, man.
The thing that
See
concerns
how
me
the
too,
rest
you
of
lose
the
you lose out on Eric Fetty to the White Sox.
Mm-hmm. Don't know how it happens.
Like, I don't understand. And they're gonna regret not getting Eric Fetty.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna.
Because
just
people
go
are
off
like,
and
"Oh, he went
perform.
to the KBO. The numbers don't matter." It does fucking matter when you win Cy Young and MVP, and it matters when you change entirely how you pitch in general. Like, this is not the same Eric Fetty that we saw when he was here. It speaks volumes when you put up that good of numbers in the KBO. I'm sorry, it does to me. Like, I don't know.
Knowing the White Sox, though, they'll mess him up again.
Yeah, because they don't know what a computer is there, so I expect them to. They have unlimited pencils and paper. I don't know why he even wanted to go there. But I don't know. I could talk about the Mets all day. I'm aggravated with them. The Rangers, please just start playing better defense so I don't have to be aggravated with you. Eagles, please still win in Dallas on Sunday night, even though my confidence is at a very, very low with that happening. So I don't know. It was a fun month. It was a fun month. I'll say that, though. It was a good ride. Maybe the Rangers at least give me some sort of feels, but I counted on them last year to do that because the Mets had me tapped out by May, and that didn't happen. Mets had me out by April, honestly, actually.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking in April when that series started that we needed the Rangers to succeed because the Mets, we knew from then the Mets, something smelled funny. Like, they were not who we thought they were. And just remember, I said it all of 2022 and people called me stupid. People called me stupid that 101 win team was fake. It was clear as day. When you have Francisco Lindor bunting and playing like the Arizona Diamondbacks and you're playing small ball, you're not a legit team. You're just not. I don't know. But hey, at least Lindor got Jeff McNeil that car though. So at least yeah, there is some good. The Mets.
Oh golly.
Fucking. All right. I'm going to wrap it up here before I go off the rails more with the Mets. I do appreciate anyone that stayed through to watch the baseball part of this too. And I apologize if you don't like when we talk baseball. I gave you a warning though, so you can't even be mad at me this time.
Can't.
I gave you a warning that it was going to happen and to click off then. So if you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like on the stream. Subscribe if you guys are new. Like I said, on the road to 2K subs. Would appreciate if we got there. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next podcast episode, which should be next week because I did say to Statboy Steven that we would get a podcast going next week. So don't know which day yet. It will be on a Rangers off day. That's all I know. And he'll give a better prospect update than we gave you tonight. So be on the lookout for that. And as for the Mets, you have me on. You have me this close to my next chapter. So, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one, though.